All right, let's dive into something that bridges about 2,600 years of wisdom with our crazy, hyper-modern lives. We're going to unpack a pretty revolutionary idea that might just be the key to finally putting down that invisible weight we all seem to be carrying around.
You know that feeling, right? That heavy, just draining sensation that can hit you even when, on paper, everything's fine. Some people call it burnout, others might call it depression, but it often feels like you're lugging around this huge burden you can't even see. But what if the problem isn't what we're carrying, but the simple fact that we're carrying it at all?
Okay, think of your worries like this glass of water. If you hold it for just a minute, no big deal, right? It's light. But hold it for an hour and your arm starts to ache. Try holding it for an entire day and your arm is going to be numb, paralyzed, in total agony. The glass never got heavier. The suffering comes from how long you refuse to put it down. We literally exhaust ourselves just by holding on.
So get this. 2,600 years ago, the Buddha gave a radical diagnosis for this kind of spiritual exhaustion, and it's all wrapped up in a single profound word, Paloka. Now, that's the ancient Pali word for the world, but its root, lujati, means that which must fall apart. It's not just a description, it's the very definition of the world. This completely flips the script on our reality. We tend to think that things breaking, or relationships ending, or our plans going sideways, we think that's a bug in the system. The Buddha's insight is that the falling apart is the system. It's the primary feature of existence, not a flaw. And this principle, it doesn't just apply to our coffee mugs or our bad moods. Ancient Buddhist cosmology saw the entire universe operating on this same grand cycle. We're talking immense periods of formation, then existence, then destruction, and then just pure emptiness, before the whole show starts all over again. Collapse isn't an accident. It's a cosmic reset button. And the scale of this collapse is just epic. The ancient texts describe this final stage where, one by one, 7 suns appear in the sky, they evaporate the oceans, crack the land, and ultimately burn the entire world system to absolute ash, leaving nothing behind. And this brings us to our first real wow moment. This ancient, almost mythical vision of a universe that is designed to fall apart, it perfectly mirrors a cornerstone of modern physics, the second law of thermodynamics. You've probably heard of it as entropy. Entropy is just a scientific law that says things don't stay neat. Your clean room will always get messy, a hot cup of coffee will always cool down, a star will eventually burn out. So much of our deep spiritual exhaustion comes from fighting this fundamental law, from pouring all our energy into trying to keep a universe that's designed to be messy perfectly in order. Okay, so we've gone from the biggest scale imaginable, the entire cosmos, and now we're going to zoom all the way down to the infinitesimally small, because this is where reality gets truly bizarre and our role in it becomes shockingly powerful. This is the famous double-slit experiment. So when scientists weren't looking, a particle, like an electron, behaved like a shimmering wave of pure potential, existing everywhere at once. But, and this is the crazy part, the moment they set up a detector to watch it, that wave of possibility collapsed into a single solid particle in one specific spot. The very act of observation changed reality. This leads to a truly mind-bending question. When a bad feeling comes up, is it just a fleeting wave of energy? And is it our focused, worried, obsessive attention that collapses that wave into the hard, heavy particle of what we then call my suffering? Are we unintentionally making our own pain solid just by looking at it a certain way?
Okay, let's bring this right inside our own heads. Neuroscientists have found this brain circuit called the default mode network, or the DMN. You can think of it as your brain's inner storyteller. When your mind wanders, the DMN lights up, replaying old regrets and rehearsing future anxieties. And what's really telling is that research shows it's consistently overactive in people with depression.
But here is the really good news. Studies have shown something incredible. When they put experienced meditators into an fMRI scanner, the very act of practicing mindfulness, of just calmly observing their thoughts without judgment, it dramatically quiets down the activity in the DMN. It's like finding the volume knob for your brain's worry circuit. So really, we have a choice. We can live inside the story our DMN is constantly creating, that endless loop of why me and what if. Or we can learn to shift into a mindful state, stepping out of the story and just observing the raw data of reality. What is this feeling, right here, right now? One is a prison of thought, the other is the freedom of direct experience.
And this is so important. Letting go is not about becoming an unfeeling robot. That's a huge misunderstanding. Numbing yourself out is dissociation. It's building a wall so you feel nothing. True detachment is about feeling everything, the storm, the pain, the joy, but watching it from a place of compassionate awareness, without getting totally swept away. It's the difference between numbness and courage.
And what's so wild is that modern psychology has totally caught up to this ancient idea. There's a powerful approach called acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT, and it has this core concept called creative hopelessness. Now, it sounds bleak, I know, but it's actually incredibly liberating. It's the point where you finally truly realize that all your old strategies for controlling your feelings just don't work and they never will. That's the moment real change can actually begin.
ACT uses this brilliant analogy. If you're stuck in quicksand, your first instinct is to struggle like crazy, right? But that only makes you sink faster. The completely counterintuitive path to freedom is to stop fighting, relax, and let yourself float. It's the same thing with our difficult feelings. When we stop struggling against them and just allow them to be there, we stop sinking. Surrender isn't weakness. It's the smartest move you can make.
So the ultimate takeaway is this. From the cosmic law that says the entire universe has to disintegrate, to the quantum law that says our focus can solidify reality, all the way to the neurological truth that we can quiet our inner storyteller, it all points to one really radical idea. Maybe freedom isn't about finally getting all the pieces of your life perfectly lined up. Maybe true freedom is found in that moment you finally find the courage to let them all fall apart.